My name is Brandon Springer, and I'm a proud Wisconsin DECA alumni. I've competed at districts, state, ICDC multiple years, have served as a judge both at state and ICDC for multiple years as well. Currently, professionally, I am part of the government affairs team with the American Hotel and Lodging Association. I sit on multiple national boards focused on human capital, investments, labor relations, hospitality law, and also a little bit of homeland security stuff every now and then that kind of falls under that government affairs banner. And on a day-to-day basis, on top of all of that, I am proud to be the assistant general manager at Lake Lawn Resort and Spa down in the Geneva Lakes region in Delavan, Wisconsin. Many of you compete in hospitality, and it is one of the greatest opportunities through any type of vocation out there currently in the United States and actually all over the world. So when you think of what you can start doing now as a high school student, obviously compete in DECA, right? That goes without saying. The second thing is start at the front line. Start as a front desk agent, a bell staff individual, working in reservations, housekeeping, anything you can do to get your foot in the door. GMs, AGMs, directors, department heads, depending on your property size, can make well into the six figures and be taken care of with great benefits. You get to travel for free or at a reduced cost. You can stay anywhere in the world, especially if you work with the Marriotts or Hiltons or IHGs. So it's really a great industry to get involved in and has a ton of potential, but it starts with getting your foot in the door right now as a high school student. We probably all wish we could go back and make changes as our younger selves. Though many of us, I think, have learned that those steps and those maybe missteps sometimes have really molded us into who we are now. So when I look back and I think of what advice would I give to myself even 10, 15 years ago, or maybe right before I walked into that first case study that I was presenting in front of a judge, it really comes down to confidence and compassion. If you don't understand the big picture, and that only comes through hard work, studying, and understanding that every person you meet and every interaction that you have is going to make you better. You may not necessarily agree with that person you meet. You may not necessarily think that every conversation you have is life-altering, and that's okay. But what is important is taking something out of that interaction. Understanding that every person kind of builds a little bit more and fills in a little bit of the puzzle as you grow older. I wish I would have known that and understood that as my younger self, because I think there were a lot of opportunities that I may have thought I knew the answer to or really didn't appreciate the opportunity that I was given and just hurried to get through it without really taking a step back and understanding now as a seasoned professional how that would really help me and make me think back to that moment. So take time, take a breath, don't always be in such a hurry. You got a lot of life in front of you, and that's important to remember. But these moments right now, I promise you, you will never forget. Education is a huge thing, and as you can tell from the banner behind me, I am a University of Notre Dame graduate from Mendoza College of Business, undergrad and graduate. Went forth to do my law studies down at University of Georgia. So to me, staying motivated was always the challenge, right? To get better, to understand why. And I think when it comes to education, and it doesn't matter what you're doing, if you're going to tech school, if you're going to night classes, online classes, which I took online classes for my degree, and those were the hardest to stay motivated for because, I didn't have to be in the classroom all the time. I didn't have to be somewhere at a certain time. So those are things that can sometimes be challenging. So my challenge to you when it comes to motivation, especially with education, whether you're going to Notre Dame, whether you're going to UW-Madison, Minnesota, ASU, Madison College, Milwaukee Area Tech, wherever it may be, is always understand why. Always ask that question. Why do you feel the way you do? Why do you think the way you do? Why are you passionate about something? Find the core root. Keep digging. if you're lacking motivation, or if one day you just don't feel like cracking the book, start with asking why. It's going to help you long run, not only professionally, but certainly getting through the next couple years, which is going to be tough with the amount of book work you got and balancing social life and everything going on. Always understand why. And until you understand, keep digging. After judging for now 13 years, both at a state level and also at internationals and ICDC, the number one question I get asked from every student and every advisor, and all of you watching this here, is what makes somebody great, right? What is the main key to success that will get me on stage, get me the medal, get me the award, get me to ICDC, and then eventually win it? Well, unfortunately, I'm here to tell you there's not just one thing. It's everything. It's everything from when you walk up to the table, okay? We don't necessarily as judges judge you on that in regards to your score matrix. We judge when you start, right, per the rules, but there's an air about you, a confidence level that has to be there as you make your way through, okay? So when you start, eye contact is huge. Know what your product is or know what your pitch is before you get halfway through. Know what you're asking from me as a judge. If you know that you may have to take a difficult stance on something, or you may be thinking out of the box, which is a great thing to do, by the way. Think about it. As a judge, we hear the same things over and over and over because they just seem like they make the most sense, right? And everybody would do it. It's just common. Try not to be common. Give us something that we wouldn't have thought about. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got was when you're at a boardroom, and think of a boardroom and your boss is there, and there's 10 other people in the room, and you're the last person to speak. If you made a list of all the things you wanted to say, probably 9 of those things are going to be gone by the time it comes to you to speak. So what do? Well, you have had to drill in. You have to know what you're thinking, what you're saying, every step of your process, because everybody else in front of you, or maybe all the other groups in front of you, have told me the same thing. Give me something new, okay? Always think out of the box. In fact, don't even think there is a box. Come with something special. And if you do that, and you do it convincingly and with confidence and with a smile, we'll remember you, and trust me, it'll show up on your scores. The overall DECA experience to me was very special. And the memories I have at state and at districts, like my first district medal, I still have it. I still kept all my medals and plaques and all of that. Those were memories I'll never forget. When it comes to something that I think was the most valuable to my success today, it actually starts in the classroom. And it wasn't the big ICDC trips, which were memorable for having a lot of fun and competing and learning, but it was those chapter officer meetings at 7 a.m. On those days after practice or concerts or whatever it was, when I really didn't want to get up to be in class that morning, but being there at 7 o'clock. It was spending time, and as a leader, going through with fellow classmates and hearing their ideas, right? If there's something we do now, especially in my roles, it's listening to a lot of different points of view and then coming to what the best overall decision is. So those are moments that, whether it's in a chapter officer meeting, whether it's just in the chapter meeting, whether it is in passing at lunch when you're talking to fellow students, really take those moments and listen to what they're saying, because you will do that every day when you get into a leadership role as your career progresses. So those are the most influential moments.